نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لقد من الله على المؤمنين إذ بعث فيهم رسولا صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسول النبي الكريم. The respected ulama ikram, my dear younger brother, our Imam, our Sheikh, Imam Jaza al-Shami, and our beloved and our respected, the son, the grandson of the awliya, the son of the ulama, of the Supreme Sultan Siddiqui Sahib. And for those people who don't know them, their grandfather, Mawlana Umar Sharif, Rahmatullah alayhi, was a great scholar of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jamaat, and actually did a lot of great service and was a great munazir and a great debater. At a time when after Pakistan was created, the Wahhabis in Pakistan, the Deobandis, were spreading like wildfire, especially through Punjab. And places like Gujranwala, they had their own centre there. And this is where Allama Umar Sahib, Rahmatullah alayhi, stood up against the Wahhabis and actually countered them and strengthened the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jamaat. And then after that, Mawlana Abdul Wahab Siddiqui Sahib, as you know from England, Mawlana Abdul Tawab Siddiqui Sahib, they did a great service, and you can actually find some of them munazire on their thing. And I used to listen to the speeches of Mawlana Umar Sharif Rahmatullah alayhi and Mawlana Tawab Siddiqui Rahmatullah alayhi during my life. And then I'm a passed away, Mawlana Tawab Sahib. Yeah. So they're still alive and they're still doing great service. So you can see their speeches on YouTube as well. If you haven't got them, I've got some very old recordings at home if you ever need them. So Qibla Shah Sahib and Qibla brother's name? Whose house is this?
Brother Imran.
Yeah, Brother Imran. Yes. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. As you know, today we gathered here in a blessed mehfil of the Milad Sharif. So as there's a few of us, we'll just take it easy and not have that kitabana, or rather have more of a conversation or a chat, because it's more important people understand what we're saying. So it's a very important day, and it's a very blessed occasion, and it's a blessed year as well. Because if you look at the Milad Sharif this year, it will fall on a Monday, which is the day of the Prophet ﷺ's birth. Also, it will fall on the 12th of the calendar as well. So it will be 12th in the English calendar as well, in the Christian calendar, and it will also be 12th in the Islamic calendar. And it's also the 12th month of the Christian calendar. So you've got, so these people who say these are Barmi Wale, we've got Baran this year. 3 times. One is Islamic 12th, it's the English 12th, and it's also the 12th month as well. So you can see the munasbah that Allah Ta'ala has given us. So this should be Nur Allah, Nur for us. And there's importance on that night as well. And you must remember that. Some people say, why don't you celebrate the Milad Sharif all through the year? Why specifically this month? And why specifically this night of the 12th? What's special about it? Why don't you do it all year? We do the Milad Sharif all year. We do it all year. But there is significance in that special night as well. For example, take the example of Laylatul Qadr. We have the Quran all year round. So why do we specifically mention Laylatul Qadr as the night of the Quran being revealed? It shows that the night that the Quran was revealed was special. Similarly, this night that the Prophet ﷺ came was special. Also, the time the Prophet ﷺ came, do you remember the time the Prophet ﷺ came? It was just before dawn. It was just before dawn that the Prophet ﷺ arrived in this world. And that's not any ordinary time as well. As we know from many hadiths, the Prophet ﷺ said that in every night there's a moment when du'as are accepted. And the ulama said, and the Sufiya said, it's that time just before the morning, which is the time the Prophet ﷺ arrived. So you see that zarf, the time when the Prophet ﷺ arrived, was also special as well. So you have that special in that time as well. So although we celebrate the Milad Sharif of the Prophet ﷺ all year round, we do specifically on that night as well, because there's something significant about that night. It wasn't any ordinary night, you must understand that. So don't get put off by this. I've also been seeing some posts and some comments by some of our learned brothers who are saying, learned scholars who are saying that when you celebrate the Milad, it's more important to uptake the character. In one way, they're putting down those people who celebrate the Milad Sharif, saying that what's more important is that you uptake the character of the Prophet ﷺ and do the amal, which is correct. But what you're doing there is pushing some people away. It's a similar argument that some people use in Ramadan Sharif, where they say that, okay, you're keeping Rosé, but what about your namazah? What about your prayers? Remember this, the fast of Ramadan of Farz in their own right, the namaz is fard in its own right. Just because you're not doing one doesn't mean, just because you're not praying namaz doesn't mean you don't fast. At least let somebody do one good thing. So brothers who aren't pious throughout the year, don't stop them celebrating the Milad Sharif. Who knows with the barakah of the Milad Sharif they'll enter into, coming into this way. So don't criticize people who are celebrating the Milad Sharif and say, no, this is what you're doing, you don't do anything else. Because who knows through this barakah of the Milad Sharif you may actually end up with gaining something and gaining that understanding. So there's two types of people tonight and in this month. We've got the people who are celebrating the Milad Sharif like us, alhamdulillah. And thank Allah Ta'ala that Allah Ta'ala has given us that foresight and has given us that insight and has given us the ability to accept the truth and celebrate the Milad Sharif of the Prophet. Because truly it's a bounty from Allah Ta'ala to be on the straight path and to be the ummah of the Prophet. The previous prophets supplicated to Allah Ta'ala, did dua to Allah Ta'ala, make us from the ummah of the Prophet. Allah Ta'ala has given us this and has given us this ability. And there's those people on the other side, the second group who aren't celebrating on this night, who aren't celebrating not this night or in this month. So you get your two parties, you've got your group of people who celebrate the Milad Sharif and you have your group that don't celebrate the Milad Sharif. And again, what's happening is that unfortunately some people, when they gain a small bit of knowledge, maybe they read one Darsi Kitab, they read Nurul Rizal, they become a mufti after that. But it's basically that's just a basic starting point. And then they start commenting on society as well. For example, if you see somebody who's a mechanic, you won't ask him about a medical condition, would you? You'd ask him about the health of a car, not about the health of the body. But unfortunately what happens is that some people read maybe 1 or 2 years of that Sinrama and then become social commentators. I think they can understand that. So some people are saying that, especially after the shenanigans we had last year about the Mawlid debates and everything else, that the people who celebrate Milad, let them celebrate. The people who don't celebrate Milad, leave them. They're both okay. They're not okay. Both can't be okay. And people who celebrate the Milad Sharif are okay. The people who don't celebrate the Milad Sharif, they're not okay. Because not celebrating the Milad Sharif is a symptom of a problem. It's not the cause of the problem, it's a symptom. It tells us that there's something wrong with this person. The fact that they can't see the benefits in Milad Sharif, the fact that they can see that the fact that they believe there's nothing to be gained by celebrating the Milad Sharif, tell you there's something wrong with them. The fact that they say that, where did the Sahaba Ikram say this, what happened? And they start asking you all these questions. For example, they ask you, okay, when did the Sahaba Ikram put these lights on? When did the Sahaba Ikram sit down and have a gathering on the 12th of Rabiul Awwal? When did they do this? When did they do that? And ask you for these specifics. There's something wrong with these people who ask for all these specifics. You find a general principle and you stick to it. For example, the Quran tells us about the Bani Israel in the Hufaz Ikrama here in Surah Baqarah, the first para. Allah Ta'ala told Musa alayhi salam to tell the Bani Israel to slaughter a cow. So when Allah Ta'ala ordered you to slaughter a cow, then slaughter a cow. But what did they do? They started asking questions. What kind of cow? What colour cow? How old is the cow? So they started going deep and deep into it and started doing what we call in our language, nuqtatiniya, and started asking specifics that we will only slaughter it if you tell us the exact colour, if you know the exact things. In one way they didn't want to do it. So they started finding excuses around it and they've got themselves in trouble. So the Quran tells us about these people how they were given a general command, slaughter a cow to slaughter one. And if you'd have stuck to that, you could have slaughtered any cow of any age because you'd have committed, because that was on. You'd have acted upon the hukam, but they asked for more and more details and wanted absolute specifics. And the Quran tells us about this. Why did the Quran tell us about this? The Quran doesn't tell us how many rakats to read in Zuhr or Fajr or Asr or Maghrib or Isha. He didn't tell us that. But he told us about this incident about these people, telling us that these people are wrong, that they were asking all these nuqtatiniya, and they were asking for all these specifics. When they were given something general, a general principle, slaughter a cow, they wanted all the specifics. And similarly here in the Milad Sharif, we've been given a general order that to celebrate when Allah Ta'ala's mercy and fazl comes upon you. And then these people want more and more specifics about what day, what time, how, and everything else. So it shows that there's something wrong with these people. And also, this issue will then lead them on to more problems. If they can't see the Milad Sharif and they can't see the benefits in this, it shows their heart's sealed. And from that, they'll start doing the Gustaki of the Prophet ﷺ. They start saying the Prophet ﷺ is like us. Because they can't see beyond that, because that's their mentality now. And they'll start doing things. And I'll tell you this, if you look at these people who are in IS now, or so-called IS, none of them celebrate the Milad Sharif, I'm pretty sure. That tells you which group are you part of. So you can see that mentality, where that mentality leads to. You're taking Pakistani suicide bombers, who are bombing Shia masjid, who are bombing shrines, who are bombing mazars. None of them celebrate the Milad Sharif, I'm pretty sure. So it shows you that these people on this other side, there's some issue with them. So I'm not saying that we should go and debate with these people, but I'm saying that you don't say that they're okay, because that gives you the impression that you can bring them close to you and become their friends and listen to them, because there is something wrong in their mentality and understanding of the deen, and which if you're not aware of, that can then damage your deen as well. So it's important that you understand that there is something wrong with these people and there's something sealed upon their hearts. For example, they say the Prophet, and they say the Prophet, for example, they say the Prophet just like us. It's just one of the reasons why they don't celebrate the Milad, because they say, well, what's wrong with the Milad? Why should we do that? We don't celebrate birthdays. So why should we celebrate the Prophet's arrival in this world? That's because they're saying, if you don't celebrate our birthday, what's that got to do with the Prophet? When are we on the same level as the Prophet? But these people believe that they are, and that's because they take these ana bashirun mithlukum, that I am a bashir like you. And this is why they don't understand what that means. For example, their mentality is that the Prophet he's like us, so he's like us. And then they stop there, which is odd, because when they get a general hukum, فَلْيَفْرَحُوا, they want the specifics and they want the detail. But when they get a hukum like ana bashirun mithlukum, they stop there. What do you ask for the detail here and go into it? What does this actually mean? In what are you? I mean, if you're ulama here, they know that. What's the wajh tashbih? For example, I got my phone here. This cost me £30. That's all I paid for the phone, because that's all I think I should pay for the phone. It's just a rubbish only. I shouldn't say that. It's just £30 I paid for it. So, but I would say to you, my phone is like an iPhone 7. And then what would you say to me? You'd say you're being silly. How's your phone like an iPhone 7? And I would say, well, it's like an iPhone 7 because I can make calls on it. And you can make calls on an iPhone 7. So it's like an iPhone 7. So it should be worth it the same amount. So why are you paying £700 for an iPhone 7 and I'm paying £30? See the difference? Without the tashbih, the Prophet ﷺ said, I am bashar like you. He said, is he exactly like you? Just as his phone might have some similarity with an iPhone 7. It's not the same as an iPhone 7. Just because you might have a similarity in the sense that you have a physical form as a human being and the Prophet ﷺ had a physical form as a human being, does that mean you're exactly the same as the Prophet ﷺ? Of course you're not. So this is what people don't understand. The Prophet ﷺ, just to give you an example, when the Prophet ﷺ, so these people, that's the mentality of the people who don't celebrate the Milad Sharif, that leads them onto this mentality of thinking that the Prophet ﷺ is also like us, because they have that kind of basic understanding of the basic concept of Islam when it comes to the Prophet ﷺ. So, as I was saying, there's two parties, or there's two kinds of groups. Those who celebrate the Milad Sharif and those who don't celebrate the Milad Sharif. And then, if you look at the life of the Prophet ﷺ, you must remember, Allah Ta'ala tells us to look around at us and do fikr upon what's happening all around us. So that doesn't just mean look around you as in today, look all around the world. It also means look back in history as well, what happened, and learn the lessons from that and understand that there are great lessons for us. So if you look through the life of the Prophet ﷺ, you notice one thing. You notice that there were two arrivals of the Prophet ﷺ. First, when he arrived in Makkah Sharif, when his physical birth took place. So he came in Makkah Sharif. At that time when he came in Makkah Sharif, there weren't any Muslims there. Very few people knew who he was. So when these people say to us, when the Prophet ﷺ arrived, why didn't they celebrate the Milad when the Prophet ﷺ arrived in this world? That's because at that time there weren't any Muslims there. Very few people in Makkah Sharif actually knew who the Prophet ﷺ was. Very few of them knew that he was Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Most of them thought, and listen to this, most of them thought he was just a normal bashar, just a normal baby. So therefore they didn't do anything. And now look at the people today who aren't doing anything on the Milad Sharif. They see him as just a normal person, see him as a normal baby, saw him just as a normal person, and they do tashbih upon themselves. But even at that time in Makkah Sharif, those people who knew, they were there on the night. We know that Jews were on that night in Makkah Sharif because they'd seen the signs from their books that the last Prophet ﷺ will come, and they recognized on that night the Prophet ﷺ will be there, and they were there on that night. That's why the famous incident when that Jewish man went and asked the people of Quraysh, has a baby been born this night? And he was taken to the house of Sayyidina Amina radiyallahu ta'ala anha, and he saw that. And some of the historians do say that what were the Jews doing in Arabia at that time? And the historians say that the reason that some of the Jewish tribes actually left and especially the descendants of Harun alayhi salam, they left Baytul Muqaddas and left Jerusalem to Arabia, was because they knew about these signs that the last prophet was going to come in Arabia, and that's why they came to the city of Hijaz, and that's why a lot of them were actually in Medina Sharif as well. As you know, the Prophet migrated to Medina Sharif, many of them were Jewish people, and that's because they knew that the Prophet was going to come there. So those people who knew. But when the Prophet arrived in this world, very few people knew him, had his marifah, knew that he was the Prophet, knew his true worth. And that's why there was no celebration at that time amongst the ordinary people. But then Allah Ta'ala gave us another arrival of the Prophet. The Prophet did migration and arrived in Medina Sharif. So then you had a second migration of the Prophet. But this time he was arriving into people who were Muslims. He was arriving amongst people who were Ushab of the Prophet. He was arriving amongst people who had the marifah of the Prophet. And what happened then? What happened then? Exactly.
Narai Takbir, Narai Risalat, Narai Haidari.
And then they celebrated the arrival of the Prophet. So there were two arrivals of the Prophet, and I said there were two groups. The first arrival was in Makkah Sharif, where there was a group of people who didn't know the Prophet. They did nothing. The second arrival was in Medina Sharif, where people knew the Prophet. And what did they do? They celebrated the arrival of the Prophet. And in my hand I have Sahih Bukhari.
How did they celebrate like this?
Yeah, we'll come on to that. I have Sahih Bukhari, and because some people say, because these people actually mess about the translation of the books. Because they mess about the translation of the books, then they accuse everybody else of messing about the translation. So I've got the Arabic, and I've got the Urdu Tarjma of Allama Wahidul Zaman of Ahl Hadith Deobandi, and it's printed by them. So if people want to argue that we're translating it wrong, we've got their translation here as well. And Sayyidina, in Kitab al-Manaqib of Sahih Bukhari, and Kitab al-Manaqib of the Ansar, and the person of the Ansar, which is Jild 3 here, is about halfway through Sahih Bukhari. Sayyidina Anas bin Malik radiyallahu anhu narrates a hadith about how the Prophet ﷺ came into Medina Sharif. And they say that when the Prophet ﷺ came into, and look at the words of the Sahaba Ikram, look at the words of the Ansar, look at the words of the people who celebrated the arrival of the Prophet ﷺ. They stood upon their houses. They weren't just lying in the street, they stood upon their houses. And when the Prophet ﷺ came, it said here, وَيَقُولُونَ, and they said, جَاءَ Nabiyullah, جَاءَ Nabiyullah. Now ulama here can say, what does translate that? Ja'a Nabiyullah, Hazur aa gaye, Huzur aa gaye. So this stuff that we say in our mehfil, Hazur aa gaye, O aa gaye, Mustafa. These are the exact words of the Sahaba Ikram. Ja'a Nabiyullah, Ja'a Nabiyullah. The Prophet, the Nabi of Allah has come, the Nabi of Allah has come. And this isn't just something that we've made up, this is Sahih Bukhari. These are the words of the Sahaba Ikram, these are the words of the Ansar, the people who loved. And the Prophet ﷺ said about the Ansar, that if the Ansar go one way and the whole world goes one way, I will go with the Ansar. And this is the Ansar saying, Ja'a Nabiyullah, Ja'a Nabiyullah. The Prophet ﷺ said that the person who loves the Ansar is a true believer, and the person who hates the Ansar, writes books against them, is a hypocrite. And the Prophet ﷺ had great love for the Ansar. Once after a battle, when you win and have the booty and have things that you gain from a victory, then they distributed that amongst the Muslims. The Prophet ﷺ used to do that. So once the Prophet ﷺ distributed goats and other things too, especially the Muhajirin, and gave nothing to the Ansar. So the Ansar felt a bit bad about that, because thinking, hang on, why are we not getting anything from them? And the Prophet ﷺ learned about this. And then he called the Ansar together. And he said to the Ansar, do you wish that the other people, they take away goods? So this is the words of the Prophet. Do you wish that the other people take away these goods, goats and whatever, and you take home the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Meaning that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is with them. And then people started to cry, meaning that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is with them more and has love with them more. This is the Ansar. So this is what they said when they came in. And Ja'a Nabiyullah, Ja'a Nabiyullah. And then another hadith further on in Sahih Bukhari, Sayyidina Barra bin Azib mentions this. And some people say, what are these lights here? And what are these lights? Not this book, and what are these lights here? Sayyidina Anas bin Malik in Tirmidhi Sharif and Sunan ibn Majah mentions that the day the Prophet ﷺ arrived in Medina Sharif, the day he arrived in Medina Sharif, we did not see any day more enlightened than that. We did not see any day more illuminated than that day that the Prophet ﷺ arrived in Medina Sharif. So yes, what are these lights for? That's what these lights are there for. And then Sayyidina Anas bin Mawlid says that the day the Prophet ﷺ passed away, when his chair was no longer visible to us, there was no darker day in that day. And it's talked about the physical atmosphere of that day. Because obviously, as I said, that the Prophet ﷺ's face was like the moon, and it was more beautiful than the moon. And the nur on his face was much more. So when the nur went away from the physical, the day became dark. So the day the Prophet ﷺ arrived was the most enlightened day, most Roshan day that there was. So you ask, why do we have these lights? So why do we enlighten this month? Because we are showing the Prophet ﷺ has arrived, and this is enlightened our hearts. And those people who don't have these lights, they're reflecting that time the Prophet ﷺ went away. So this shows that those who have the Prophet ﷺ in their houses, in their hearts, their houses will be enlightened. And those who don't have the Prophet ﷺ, their houses will not be enlightened on this day. So this is in Tirmidhi Sharif and Sunan Ibn Majah. But coming back to Bukhari Sharif, Sayyidina Bara bin Azim narrates that, read the Sharif while I find where it was. And this is something very important to recognize as well. We talk about the two groups. One group that didn't celebrate the Milad of the Prophet ﷺ, and one that did. Sayyidina Bara bin Azim radiyallahu anhu says that ثُمَّ قَدِمَ النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم. Then the Prophet ﷺ arrived. فَمَا رَأَيْتُ, and I did not see أَهْلَ الْمَدِينَةِ فَرِحُوا بِشَيْءٍ. I did not see the people of Medina being more happy with anything than they were happy with the arrival of the Prophet ﷺ. So that the happiness they showed was more than anything else. And that's why us Sunnis, when we celebrate the Milad Sharif, we show the greatest happiness all through the year on this night. And that's because we follow the Sunnah of the Sahaba, we follow the Sunnah of the people of Medina Sharif, that they did not show any greater happiness than they showed on this night, on the day the Prophet ﷺ arrived in Medina Sharif. So this shows that there's two groups, those that celebrate the Milad Sharif and those that don't. And don't say that one group, they're both the same, they're not the same. And that's why there were two arrivals, and there were two groups of people at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. So you ask yourself, which group are you in? Are you with those who celebrated the arrival of the Prophet ﷺ in Medina, or are you like those who were told indifferent and didn't even know that the Prophet ﷺ had arrived in Makkah Sharif that night? So it shows how important it was. Some people will argue that these examples that I've given you, they're of when the Prophet ﷺ came to Medina Sharif. So that's not actually his birth, or that's not actually his wiladah, that's not actually his true arrival, because his true arrival was then. But ask yourselves this: which is a greater arrival? Which is a greater arrival? Arriving from one city to another city, is that a greater arrival, or coming from another realm? Coming from another realm into this dunya, which is greater? Which is more significant? The more significant one was when he came from the other realm into this dunya. That was greater. That should have given us a greater joy than coming from one town to this other town. So you could argue, so if the Ahlul Medina showed this much happiness on this lesser arrival, because coming from one city to the next city isn't such a great arrival as coming from the other realm, the other dunya, the other world into this realm. So if the Ahlul Medina was so happy on this lesser arrival, how happy do you think they would have been on the Milad Sharif of the Prophet ﷺ, when he would have come, if they had known he had come? So this shows that. So ask yourself, who are we following? So when people say, what's his Milad Sharif, what's his God with the Sahaba Ikram, and when we say, Aage Mustafa, that's not something we made up in India or Pakistan. These are the actual words of the Sahaba Ikram mentioned in Bukhari Sharif. So when you sing that out and you proclaim it, and that's what we're doing. And these people didn't just proclaim it, just say it, they shouted it out. They were on the houses, they're on the street, they're on the houses. So they were announcing it. And that's what these lights are doing. They're announcing Aage Mustafa, Aage Mustafa. That's what these flags on top of our houses. So they stood on top of their houses. That's why we stick our flags on top of the houses. We say Aage Mustafa. They said Aage Mustafa with their tongue. We're not as good as them. We put our flags up, we say Aage Mustafa, Aage Mustafa. Following the sunnah of the Ahlul Medina. And we're showing that great happiness that they brought into this world. And they showed, expressed it. And that's why they're the model for us. And may Allah Ta'ala extend the blessing upon the people of Medina Sharif. And may Allah Ta'ala give us the ability to carry on doing more and more of this. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah rabbil alameen.